TIFU by being on this subreddit too much and hurting my boyfriend's feelings. Anyone remember the TIFU of the guy that sucked his own dick in front of his assistant at a bachelorette party? He included a drawing of how he did that. So my boyfriend was doing some stretches on bed and one of the stretches is the same pose as what that guy drew. I commented about it and said, "Hey, that's how the TIFU guy sucked his own dick." My boyfriend, being silly, then tried to see if he can reach his too, and I gave him a little push. Obviously he isn't as flexible, just like how most people are not, and I said, "Well, it's okay." He did mention after all that he also have a big dick. And in that moment I felt as if time slowed down and I can see his face going into the super disappointed look. And that is how I fucked up by hurting his feelings. TLDR, I told my boyfriend he have a small dick indirectly and unintentionally and hurt his feelings. TIFU by not having sex with my favorite porn star. So yes, this wasn't today but was about 3 weeks ago. After coming to terms with the missed opportunity, I thought some of you here might get a kick out of the story. Here we go. I travel a lot for work. Not just day trips overnights, which means lots of hotels. I've often thought about hooking up when I am staying in one, but I am very socially awkward, so I am not good at flirting or one-night stands kinda thing. My friends say I am good looking, the honest types who would call you a pig if you weren't, but I don't have the confidence. Anyway. On one of these trips I finished work for the day and was down at the hotel bar, surprisingly not that busy as was in a big city as opposed to a rural trip. After a while I notice a hot woman walk in. I find myself staring at her more than I should to a total stranger, but then I realize why. She's a porn star I recognize. And one I very frequently watch. I wasn't certain from the face but could tell by the distinctive tattoos. She's alone and gets a drink, and I guess I must have still been staring even though I tried not to as we made eye contact. I went to look away but she smiled, so I smiled back, and to my shock she walked over. I won't bore you with the details of the whole conversation, but it went really well. We made initial small talk about inconvenient parking outside and then moved on to actually chatting. She told me her name, her real one, and told me about her dogs, leaning over showing me pictures, her hand on my shoulder, stuff like that. More shockingly, I didn't ruin the conversation. I didn't inappropriately mention I recognized her and actually made her laugh quite a bit. It was going really good. So after about an hour and a half she starts motioning to get up, getting her bags together, and says she should head up to her room soon. I say okay. She says her room would be more comfortable than the bar to unwind in. I laugh and say yeah, probably. She still doesn't leave yet, but after a while stands up, twirling the room key swipe card on her finger, 147, still remember it, and says, "This has been fun, hopefully I'll see you again soon," to which I respond, "Yes, nice meeting you too, good night," then go back to my beer feeling ever so pleased with myself for totally having a good conversation. She pauses, then heads off. It wasn't until I told friends about it a week or so later they pointed out that she was actually most likely flirting with me, and the twiddling the room key while standing waiting for me may well have been an invitation to join her. Being a social retard, I had no idea and just assumed she was tired. TLDR, could have gone to bed with a super hot porn star, instead sent her to bed alone. Edit. Wow, this post really took off. I am glad you could share in my misery, lol. I just wanted to respond to people asking her identity, thought it would be easier to put it here instead answering one by one. Even though I did tell my guy friends who she was, something about putting her name here publicly just feels wrong. Even though my initial reaction seeing her was, OMG, it's porn name, my conversation and experience was with the real person behind that. As you can see here, not all comments are positive, with things varying from slut shaming to suggesting she must have STDs if she does porn. I am sure she's a tough cookie and can handle it, but she must get enough of that stuff from what she does for work. I'd rather not contribute to it in her personal life too. Thanks. TIFU by trying to remove my body hair. So this just happened 20 minutes ago, and to be honest I'm still not sure if I'm okay, so any doctors out there that might read this, let me know. So every summer I usually do a hair removal on my body from like upper stomach to mid-thigh. I've been doing it for a few years to achieve that smooth as a baby dolphin skin, so I know my skin is not sensitive or allergic to this product. Now the nair I buy comes with this little white sponge. This helps basically wash the hair away by rubbing it off. I typically wash mine after every use. I recently went on a lake trip and I did my whole regime before I left. When I came back, as I was gone for quite some time, I noticed I missed a few spots, and plus it was going to be date night soon, so I figured what the hell, I'll do a bit more. I was putting away my laundry after I came home and found my sponge mixed in with my clothes. I set it aside, grabbed my clothes and lathered up with nair. I waited my standard 5 or so minutes and hopped in the shower. Grabbed my sponge and started rubbing. Oh my god. At first nothing was amiss. I'm rubbing and the hair is coming off in pretty good chunks, but hey, the product is working. As I finish my front, I start to move to my backside. My literal backside. And then it feels like I'm on fire. I go to wipe over a spot I already did and almost fall to my knees in pain. By now I've almost finished my entire backside, back, lower butt and all. And it feels like my skin is eating itself. Let's pause here and take a trip down my own TIFU memory lane. About 10 years ago I was young and had a sick birthday party with awesome temporary tattoos that I put everywhere. I had forgotten about them until it was time to go to school Monday morning, and in a holy shit, everyone is going to make fun of me for having a pirate temporary tattoo on my cheek induced moment, I grabbed the MR Clean Magic Eraser from under our kitchen sink and scrubbed my face as vigorously as possible. Now for those who don't know what a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser is, let's just say it's a small white sponge that packs the power of all the Greek gods in it to remove any stain on any surface. I thought it would be a great move to scrub my skin with it, and boy was I wrong. The skin around my cheek melted off in some sort of disgusting science experiment and scabbed, leaving everyone to call me Zombie Girl for weeks. Safe to say I am traumatized and know exactly what that sensation feels like. Okay, back to the present. So here I am, skin burning and glaring red. I finish my shower, change into the loosest clothes I own and lay down to cry. As I'm in bed, my grandfather comes over and says, "Hey, I cleaned the bathroom and threw my magic erasers in with your laundry. Did you find them when you put away your clothes?" And that, my friends, is the moment I had a flashback of my zombie face trauma and knew I had made the biggest foo of my life twice. And of course here's the proof on my body. Used a magic eraser to take off my hair removing product. Gave myself PTSD as I have done this before, and now I have chemical burns all over my body. Edit: yes, I am a female, and yes, females grow hair everywhere on their body, believe it or not. I am also not a fan, so hence me trying to remove it. Let's move on, people. Much thanks to everyone who gave me healing suggestions, and hearts out to the people who have experienced similar situations. Edit: too sorry, y'all, till there is not chemicals in Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. I genuinely thought there was. What I am describing is a case of rubbing my skin raw mixed in with nair, which is definitely a chemical. So my apologies. TIFU by wearing lingerie for my boyfriend. This unfortunately happened today. So last night I headed over to my boyfriend's place with the intent of having some fun. While he was in the shower, I dressed up in a lace teddy, think a one-piece swimsuit and fishnet thigh-highs. After our fun, we went to bed without cleaning up since we had to be up early so I could drive him to the airport. We woke up late, so before we left I grabbed my outfit to take home to wash. I'm sure you can see where this is going. To my luck, everyone was out by mid-morning, so I washed my teddy and stockings, hung them up to dry in my room, and closed the door. This is enough for my family to know not to go into my room, and I was home all day, so if they needed me they could come to me, right? My mom had found a medical history booklet for my cat who had to be put down several years ago. Upon finding this booklet, she felt the urge that I must have it and immediately went to my room to put it on my bed. Upon opening the door, she was greeted with my lace teddy in its cupless, crotchless and assless glory hanging from ceiling fan with the fishnets right behind it. She walked all the way in my room past the hanging lingerie and put the booklet on my night table. TL/DR wore sexy lingerie for my boyfriend. Washed it and hung it to dry in my room. Mom opened the door and saw more than either of us ever wanted her to see. She came back for something. Before leaving, she drove the knife in deeper by saying, "Good for you, I'd never be able to wear something like that." TIFU for having a dick marking on my arm back in 5th grade. This happened many years ago, but I still remember it clearly. I was in 5th grade math class and everyone was working on worksheets. My friend bought a UV spy pen that had invisible ink that only fluoresced under UV light. Being the dumb and immature 5th graders we were, I drew dicks all over my body including my face, thinking I was the slickest kid out there since the teachers can't see it. We started laughing until I started getting rashes all over my body due to the chemicals in the ink. Guess what shape the rashes were? Everyone started laughing, but I was panicking. How long were the rashes going to be on my body? How visible are they to others? What do? I did the only logical thing any 5th grader would do. I started smearing hand sanitizer all over my body. Now if you were the teacher and you were standing 2 feet away at the door, this would be a very odd sight to see. He started asking why on earth am I smearing hand sanitizer all over my body and why I was in such a panic. Long story short, they called my parents, and when they showed up I was covered head to toe in rashes shaped like dicks. TLDR, I drew with UV pens, dicks on my body, got busted when I tried to get it off and got my parents called.